Hi all, good evening. Start. Okay. Is my screen visible? Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So again, let's revise what all we discussed yesterday and we'll start with today's topic. So yesterday we started with the CRUD operations we have in databases. So what does this CRUD stands for? Create, read, update and delete. Out of which we saw how to create the data. So what we are actually doing, if we say we are creating data, we are actually inserting new rows to your table. And what is the syntax to insert data into a database table? इस query का syntax क्या होगा?
Insert into table name,
Table name
columns, values,
and the set of values you have to give over here. In which case we can skip writing these column names in the insert statement.
when the values are null.
Uh,
column
Okay. When can we skip writing column names?
When the columns is equal to the values.
Yes. So
Yes.
when you are having all the values, जितने भी कॉलम्स आपके टेबल में है उतने सारे अगर वैल्यूज आपके पास है आप यहाँ पे दे रहे हो, यू कैन ऑल्सो गिव null as a value. Okay, but if you are passing number of values as equals to the number of columns you have in your table, either it be a null or non-null value, you can skip writing these column names here. Okay. Next operation we saw is to read the data, and the command we have for that is select command, and the syntax would be select star or columns from your table name and a where condition if you have any. What is the use of this where clause?
पर्टिकुलर कॉलम और रोज को एक्सेस करने के
No. Okay. कॉलम को एक्सेस करने के लिए नहीं.
Access session check.
Yes. Where is used to access specific rows of the table based on the condition. Okay. So columns, again I'm saying column अलग बात है, rows अलग बात है. Okay. Select आपका decide करेगा कि आपके आउटपुट में कौन सी columns होंगी, and your where condition will decide which all rows you are going to have in the output. Okay. And we also discussed different operators which we can use along with this where clause to add our condition. And we also saw that we can use this and or operator to combine multiple where conditions. Everyone clear on these things? All are following the match today. आज का मैच कौन कौन है?
यस यस
Clear, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay. I asked about the match, but
जीत जाएगी मैम. Don't worry.
जीत जाएंगे
यस
मैम.
यस यस
okay. Okay, chalo. So the next CRUD operation we have is to update the data, and the command we have for that is update command. Okay. So data को update करना है मतलब क्या है, जो भी existing rows हैं, you want to update some other value in those existing rows. So this is the table we created yesterday. So we will try updating few values here. And the syntax for updating a table is update. Okay. अभी आप कोई वैल्यू को अपडेट कर रहे हो, what does that? You are setting some new value to this particular cell. Any cell of your table, you are trying to access that particular cell and you are trying to set a new value to it. So the syntax would be update your table name, set column name. कौन सी कॉलम का वैल्यू आपको अपडेट करना है and the new value we should give. Whatever the value we want to set here, that value we should give corresponding to this column name here. So if this is the syntax and I have to update branch values for all of these students to civil, what will be our query? Update student set branch is equals to civil. So if you go and check the data now, सारे students का branch is now updated to this civil value. Okay. So this simple query will help you update your entire table, that is all the rows of your table, to have branch value as civil. Now if I have to update some specific rows, हमें क्या करना है? I just want to update the branch value again. For example, let's say for these two students, 105 and 106, I want to update their branches back to ENTC. What we should do here? How can we access only those two rows from the table?
Using where.
We will have to add a where condition here. We want to set branch value again. So आपकी query में क्या आएगा? Update student set branch is equals to ENTC and the where condition. And what where condition we should put here to access last two records?
Where roll number is greater than 104.
Yeah, we can have roll number greater than 104. But what will happen if there are many students there in this table?
In
Between you can use it.
roll number.
Yes, we can either keep between or we can just keep int 105 and 106. So this query will help you update only specific rows. And that is why we have said that जब हमने where clause discuss किया, what did we say? We added this where condition only with our select statement till now. But what I said, where condition is used to access specific rows. I didn't say it is used to read specific rows. That is because you can have this where condition along with your update statements as well as with your delete statement. Update के साथ अगर आप where condition दोगे तो क्या होगा? We will be able to update those specific rows. Select के साथ अगर where को combine करोगे तो we will be able to read those specific rows. Same way, delete के साथ if you are combining this where condition, we will be able to delete those specific rows. Okay. Now, we can also update multiple columns using a single update. So let's say आपका इंस्टा अकाउंट है, फेसबुक अकाउंट है और आपने पासवर्ड भी चेंज किया है, as well as you are changing your mobile number, that is user ID. So you can do that. What will happen at the database level is, let's say in this case, I want to change the branch value as computer, as well as I want to change this CGPA to 6, where for two of these students, roll number in 103 and 104. you can update multiple columns, multiple values of those specific rows using a single update statement. उसके लिए हमें क्या करना पड़ेगा? We will just have to add the column name and the corresponding new value using a comma here after your set keyword. So we are basically setting a new value for this branch field as well as the CGPA of these two students, that is 103 and 104. So if you go and see the data now, CGPA values are updated to 6 and the branches are updated to computer. Now, later on, what I want to do is I want to add internship information as well in the student table. What all steps we will have to do अगर हमें यहाँ पे इस student table में we have to add internship information as well. तो हमें क्या करना पड़ेगा?
New column.
alter column.
Yes. First of all, we will have to alter this table definition to add a column, that is internship, and the query for that alter table student, add column internship and the data type. Let's query the student table now. So this column is now added to your table, but if you see the values, these are all nulls. Why? Because did we insert any value in this internship column? No. We just have added this new column to your table structure. Now, if I have to update internships for all of these students, what query I can write?
Update student.
Update student set internship is equals to, let's say, 2, any value. So what this query will do, it will update internship as 2 for all the students we have in this table. But now I do not want to have same internship value for all of them. Instead, I have a condition which says if roll number is 101, then internship should be 1. If roll number is 102, 03, then I want to set this internship as 2. And if your roll number is 105, then internship as 3. So basically, I just want to update internship values for 3 of these students. And that is based on a condition, और वो condition क्या है हमारा? That is your roll number values. And to achieve something like this, we have this case statement in SQL. So case statement is nothing but your if and else. So if your roll number is 101, your internship value should be updated to 1. If it is 103, internship should be 2. If it is 105, it should be 3. And the syntax for using this case statement to update the records is, again we are updating the table. So update your table name, set कौन सी कॉलम का वैल्यू हमें सेट करना है? Internship equals to. Now we do not want to have a single value for all the rows, or we do not want to have this single value for specific rows also. हमें क्या करना है? We want to update the rows based on some condition, and that condition is on your roll number field. So case roll number, कौन सी कॉलम पे आपको वो कंडीशन लगाना है? That column name will come here. Case roll number. If के लिए here we have to have when. So case roll number, when it is 101, then 1. When it is 103, then 2. And when is your roll number is 105, then I want to set internship as 3. Now whenever we are using this case statement. We need to end that case statement with the keyword called end. Otherwise, it will give you an error. So what is the error we are getting? Input 3 found expecting else, end, or next when, next condition if it is expecting. Either we should end this case statement here, or we should have the else part, just similar to your if else. But whenever we are using if else लिखना mandatory नहीं होता है. Same goes with this case statement here. Else is not mandatory in this case also. But this end keyword is mandatory whenever you are using case statement. Now let's observe the output after executing this update statement here. Now if we'll go and query the student table, what happened? 101 का internship value is updated to 1, 3 के लिए it has updated to 2, 5 के लिए it is updated to 3, but बाकी तीनों के लिए क्या हो गया? Internship value is updated to null, right? Because इन तीनों के अलावा किसी भी रो के लिए या किसी भी रोल नंबर के लिए हमने कोई कंडीशन या कोई वैल्यू सेट नहीं की है. So if you just have your case part or your when part, you are not adding else, what will happen is जो भी रोज इस कंडीशन को सेटिस्फाई करते हैं उनके लिए these values will get updated. All the other rows will have value as null. Now I do not want to have null. Let's say इन तीनों ने कोई भी internship नहीं किया है. And that is why I just wanted to update these 3 rows. But I do not want to have null also here. Instead, I want to have 0 over there. So what we can do for that is, we can add our else part. So if your row is not satisfying either of these conditions, internship value should be updated to 0. Now let's execute this statement. And now if you go and query your student table, can we see 102, 4 और 6 के लिए अभी internship का value क्या update हुआ है? It is updated as 0. Now later point in time, these 3 students also have completed 1 internships. ये तीनों ने भी एक एक internship अभी complete कर लिया है. That is 102, 4 and 6. And all of them have completed 1 internships. Okay. Now if I execute this update statement for roll number 2, 4 and 6, what will happen? इन तीनों के लिए बस आप अगर वेयर कंडीशन केस स्टेटमेंट अभी लिखोगे तो क्या होगा? फिर से 101, 3 और 5 स्टूडेंट के लिए internship will populate as null, which we do not want. We actually do not want to change these values 1, 2, 3. ये जो है उसे वैसे ही रखना है. We just need to update these 3 rows, 102, 4 and 6. So if we add else some value, what will happen? All these 3 rows, all the other 3 rows will have that single value. That also we do not want. हमें यहाँ पे क्या चाहिए? We just want to keep the values which are already there in that column as it is. इस कॉलम में बाकी 3 रोज के लिए जो भी इंटर्नशिप का वैल्यू है उसे हमें वैसे के वैसा रखना है. And for that, what you have to do is just have this column name itself in your else part. So if I'll execute this now, I won't be disturbing other 3 rows or any other row apart from 2, 4 and 6. So if you see now, 2, 4 और 6 के लिए internship value is updated to 111 and all the other records are as it is. So there are 3 cases. फर्स्ट केस में हमने कोई एल्स पार्ट ऐड ही नहीं किया था, तो व्हाट हैपेंड इज रोज इस इन कंडीशंस को सेटिस्फाई करते हैं, उनके लिए इंटर्नशिप वैल्यू गॉट अपडेटेड. Apart from these rows, all the rows had internship as null. Second case was we added our else part. और हमने क्या बोला, अगर इसमें से कोई कंडीशन सेटिस्फाई ना करती हो वो रो, तो my internship value should be 0 because only these 3 students have done some internships, others have not done. So what we did, we added this else part and said, if not any of these, I want to update internship value as 0. That's your second case कि हमने क्या किया, इसमें से अगर वो रो नहीं है कोई भी, तो I want to update the value as 0 for those rows. And third case we saw is whatever the rows are satisfying these criterias, only for those rows we should update some value for the internship column. और अगर इसमें से कोई भी कंडीशन को आपकी रो सेटिस्फाई ना करती हो, I do not want to disturb those values. I want to keep those values as it is, as they are already there in the table. So for that, what we have to do is we have to add that column name itself in your else part. Understood these 3 scenarios?
हेलो मैम,
अगर
Yes.
मैं वहाँ पर
अगर थर्ड केस में एल स्टेटमेंट नहीं लिखते तो क्या होता?
else अगर नहीं लिखते तो फिर से 101, 3 और 5 के लिए internship value would have been updated to null, right? That is what happened in our first case. Do you want me to show
लेकिन
it?
उसमें पहले से वैल्यू है ना अपडेटेड में, तो फिर से
नहीं.
नल कैसे अपडेट हो जाती?
Yes, that's what I am trying to tell you. Okay. सबसे पहले हमने क्या किया, पूरा टेबल अपडेट किया to have internship as 2. Okay. तो सबसे पहले क्या था, आपकी सारी रिकॉर्ड्स के लिए internship value was 2. Okay. Now then what we did, we updated this table based on some condition. और वो कंडीशन में हमने क्या लिखा, रोल नंबर अगर 101 है तो 1 होना चाहिए, 3 है तो 2 होना चाहिए, 5 है तो 3 होना चाहिए. So what this case statement also will do is, it is as good as your where condition. It will go and check roll number is 101, तो वहां पे इंटर्नशिप का वैल्यू क्या सेट करना है, 1 सेट करना है. Next does not satisfy any of these. Next row 103, it satisfies the condition. तो उसके लिए इंटर्नशिप का वैल्यू क्या होना चाहिए, 2 होना चाहिए. And next value we have is 105. उसके लिए इंटर्नशिप का वैल्यू क्या होना चाहिए, 3 होना चाहिए. अभी हमने यहाँ पे कहीं पे भी लिखा है क्या कि इसके अलावा जो भी रोल नंबर्स है उनके लिए इंटर्नशिप का वैल्यू क्या होना चाहिए, और डिड वी मेंशन कि वो जो वैल्यूज ऑलरेडी वहां पे टेबल में है वो चेंज नहीं होनी चाहिए. वी हैव नॉट मेंशन्ड इट, वी हैव नॉट स्पेसिफाइड इट एनीवेयर इन दिस क्वेरी, राइट? हमने सिर्फ क्या बोला है, इसमें से अगर कोई रोल नंबर है तो उसकी इंटर्नशिप वैल्यू अपडेट हो जानी चाहिए. वी हैव नॉट एडेड आवर एल्स हियर, एंड दैट इज व्हाई व्हाट विल हैपन इज all the other records will have internship का value as null. And that is why this third case, right, कि अगर आपको सिर्फ ये वाली रोज को अपडेट करना है, उसके अलावा जो भी रिकॉर्ड्स हैं आपके टेबल में उन रिकॉर्ड्स को एज इज रखना है, तो आपको एल्स पार्ट ऐड करना पड़ेगा. एंड यू विल हैव टू से कि अगर इसमें से कोई कंडीशन सेटिस्फाई ना करती हो वो रो, तो आपको क्या करना है. तो इन दिस केस व्हाट वी सेड इज, अगर इसमें से कोई भी रोल नंबर नहीं है उस रो में, तो आई वांट टू सेट इंटर्नशिप एज 0, क्योंकि इनके अलावा कोई भी स्टूडेंट ने इंटर्नशिप अभी तक नहीं किया है. तो वेरेवर वी हैड गॉट नल, वी हैव गॉट 0 नाउ. ओके, अंडरस्टूड दिस सेकेंड सिनेरियो?
यस मैम.
ओके.
Yes.
अभी कुछ टाइम बाद क्या हुआ कि ये जो 3 स्टूडेंट्स है 2, 4 एंड 6, इन्होंने एक एक इंटर्नशिप कंप्लीट किया। नेक्स्ट सेमेस्टर में इन्होंने एक एक इंटर्नशिप कंप्लीट किया फॉर एग्जाम्पल। डज दैट मीन इन्होंने कंप्लीट किया है तो इनका काउंट कुछ चेंज हुआ है या फिर दे हैव नॉट डन एनी इंटर्नशिप? नो, राइट? देयर रिकॉर्ड शुड रिमेन सेम। 101 ने एक इंटर्नशिप किया था, इट इज नॉट चेंज्ड। आई वांट टू कीप इट एज इट इज। 3 का इंटर्नशिप 2 था ऑलरेडी and it is not changed. I want to keep this also as is. Same goes with your 105. तो ये तीनों रिकॉर्ड्स को मुझे टच नहीं करना, मुझे बस कौन सी रिकॉर्ड्स को अपडेट करना है? 2, 4 एंड 6। तो अभी भी आप यहाँ पे आपका एल्स नहीं लिखेंगे तो क्या होगा? 2, 4, 6 के लिए योर इंटर्नशिप वैल्यू विल बी अपडेटेड टू 1, but for all the other rows, as we have not added any else condition over here, any else value here, it will update null for all other 3 records, which we do not want. Instead, what we want is, अभी जो उस कॉलम में उन रिकॉर्ड्स में वैल्यू है इंटर्नशिप का, वो वैसे ही रहना चाहिए। एंड उसके लिए what we have to do is, we have to add else and say I want to keep those values as is. जो भी इस इंटर्नशिप कॉलम में बाकी रोज के लिए इंटर्नशिप कॉलम में वैल्यूज हैं वो मुझे as is रखनी है। and that's why we say इसमें से कोई नहीं, तो I want to keep internship value as is, else internship. So if you'll do this, only these 3 records, that is 2, 4 and 6 will get updated to have these internship values. And apart from these rows, whatever rows you have in your table, for those rows your internship value will not change. It will be as is, even if it is null, anything, even if it is 0, whatever it is, this query will simply change these 3 rows and will not make any changes, any modifications, any updates to other rows you have in your table. समझ रहे हैं?
मैम अगर जैसे गलती से हम एल्स वाला पार्ट लिखना भूल जाते हैं तो हमारे जो चेंजेस होंगे उसको रोल बैक कैसे करेंगे?
Okay, that is again, if your database is not configured to treat these insert, update, deletes as auto committed, you can revert the change. Otherwise, you have modified your data. You will have to, if you have a backup or you have that data available in some other environment, maybe production or so, you will have to take it from there. Okay.
मैम ये जो केस स्टेटमेंट है ये हमेशा नेक्स्ट लाइन से लिखा जाएगा?
नहीं, ऐसा कुछ नहीं। ओके,
वहां से
कहीं कहीं पे भी आप लिख सकते हो। मैं बस ये फॉर्मेट, ओके, सो दिस इज व्हाट वी कैन कॉल इट कोडिंग स्टैंडर्ड्स आप बोल सकते हो। योर कोड शुड बी रीडेबल, राइट? इफ आई राइट एवरीथिंग इन अ सिंगल लाइन, it looks a little messy, right? It doesn't look much readable, I would say, and that is why we just need to follow few things while writing our code or while writing our queries. That's it. Okay. Okay, so that is your update operation. And now last crude operation we have is this delete. और delete क्या करता है? It helps you delete all or specific rows of the table. And the syntax for that is delete from your table name. Now, if we'll compare this delete statement with this select statement, what is the syntactical difference we have between both of them? Syntactical difference क्या है दोनों में? What's extra in here in your select statement? The star or the column names, right?
Yes.
This comparison I am doing just to make you understand that if you are using delete query, if you are using this delete statement to delete data from your table, you will just be able to delete rows, not a single column. Okay, either it will be all the rows or it will be specific rows of the table, but it will always be a row, not a single column. Okay, so now this particular query, delete from table name, that is delete student, what it will do, it will help you delete all the rows of the table. और अभी अगर हमें स्पेसिफिक रोज को डिलीट करना है तो क्या करना पड़ेगा, वी विल हैव टू ऐड अ where condition. So let's say I want to delete this 106. So my where condition will be where roll number is equals to 106. So when you will execute this and see the data from the student table again, that row will be gone from the table. Okay. And now if you execute this delete from student, what will happen? You will lose all of your data again. And what is other option we have to delete entire data from the table? दूसरा कौन सा ऑप्शन है पूरा डेटा डिलीट करने के लिए?
Truncate.
Truncate table and the table name. So both of these queries, that is delete from student and truncate table student, will give you the same result. That is, both of them will delete entire data of the table. So which one to choose if I have to delete entire data from the table? अगर हमें पूरा डेटा डिलीट करना ही है तो आप डिलीट लिखोगे या ट्रंकेट लिखोगे?
Truncate.
Great.
Why?
Both.
By the way, it will remove all the entries from the table.
That this delete statement will also do, right?
Yes.
So the difference is there. But if it's a huge table of millions of records, your delete statement will take time to delete entire data. And truncate statement. So truncate works faster than your
So you're
delete.
saying it will get one by one, and truncate will do it in a one, let's say one stop, right?
Yeah, you can say that because performance wise your truncate is faster than your delete statement. Okay. So even if you are not adding a where condition in your delete statement also, so it won't go and check each and every row of your table. It will simply delete all the rows. And it's the same case with your truncate. But I'm not sure how exactly it happens at the back end or how it is, programmed at the database level by DBMS. But yeah, truncate works faster than your delete statement. So if you are supposed to delete entire data only, पूरा data delete करना ही है, so we can use this truncate. And if we have to delete specific members of the table, we can go with this delete with a where condition. Okay, so now if I'll execute this delete from student, I'll lose all of my data. The output will look as similar as your truncate table statement. Again. So that is the difference we have between delete and truncate.
क्या मैडम ये डिफरेंस हो सकता है क्या, डिलीट का रोल बैक हो सकता है और ट्रंकेट रोल बैक नहीं हो सकता?
Yes.
ऐसा कुछ?
Yes, that is also there. Okay. तो
अगर मैम हम जो रोल नंबर दे रहे हैं वो स्पेसिफिक है 101, आई वांट टू डिलीट इट, बट अगर मैं उस स्टूडेंट नेम से डिलीट करना चाहता हूँ और उस स्टूडेंट के नेम सेम है तो वो दोनों डिलीट करेगा क्या?
यस, वो दोनों डिलीट करेगा. सो बेसिकली वेयर कंडीशन जैसे वर्क किया था सिलेक्ट के साथ, वैसे ही वो डिलीट के साथ भी वर्क करेगा. डेटाबेस विल गो एंड चेक ईच एंड एवरी रो, and if it finds that that row is satisfying the condition you have given, it will delete that row. तो अगर आप स्टूडेंट नेम के बेसिस पे डिलीट कर रहे हो एंड यू हैव द सेम नेम फॉर 2 स्टूडेंट्स, इट विल डिलीट बोथ ऑफ देम.
नेम फॉर अपडेट होगा फिर?
सॉरी,
अपडेट के लिए भी सेम होगा अगर वेयर कंडीशन में?
यस यस, वेयर वर्क्स सेम वे विथ सिलेक्ट, अपडेट एंड डिलीट. जितने भी रोज आपने जो कंडीशन दिया है उसे सेटिस्फाई करते हैं, उतने रोज आप रीड कर पाओगे इफ यू आर एडिंग इट विथ सिलेक्ट. उतने रोज आप अपडेट कर पाओगे इफ यू आर एडिंग इट विथ अपडेट. और उतने रोज डिलीट हो जाएंगे इफ यू आर एडिंग दैट वेयर कंडीशन विथ द डिलीट स्टेटमेंट. ओके
मैम एक क्वेरी थी, जैसे डिलीट में ट्रंकेट में उसका स्ट्रक्चर सेम रहता है, स्ट्रक्चर इंटैक्ट रहता है, सिर्फ वैल्यूज डिलीट होती है. तो इसमें भी वैसे ही होता है.
सॉरी,
आई आस्क कि मैम ट्रंकेट में जैसे स्ट्रक्चर इंटैक्ट रहता है और वैल्यूज डिलीट होती है, तो डिलीट कमांड में भी सेम, इज इट वर्क सेम?
yeah, I mean, yes, okay. In both of these cases, we are not doing anything with the structure.
मतलब रो अगर डिलीट होती है तो पूरी रो चली जाती है, क्योंकि ट्रंकेट में तो सिर्फ वैल्यूज जाती है ना, मतलब उसकी.
No, right? Can you observe the output of this delete and truncate is same, exact same? डिलीट आणि ट्रंकेटच्या आउटपुट मध्ये काहीतरी डिफरन्स आहे का? नाही, राईट? आपण सगळे रेकॉर्ड्स डिलीट करतोय फक्त. ठीक आहे. ट्रंकेटच्या वेळी मी जर म्हणते की स्ट्रक्चर विल रिमेन देअर इन द डेटाबेस, त्याचा अर्थ फक्त हा आहे की ट्रंकेट जे आहे फक्त डेटा डिलीट करतो, स्ट्रक्चर तुमचा डिलीट होत नाही का. आणि ते मी बोलले कारण मला त्याच्यानंतर ड्रॉप कमांड सांगायची होती, ज्यामुळे काय होतंय, डेटा पण डिलीट होतोय आणि तुमचा स्ट्रक्चर पण डिलीट होतोय. राईट? जर मी असं बोलते तर त्याचा अर्थ हा नाहीये की ट्रंकेट विल मेक शुअर दॅट युअर स्ट्रक्चर रिमेन्स इंटॅक्ट अँड डिलीट विल परफॉर्म समथिंग एल्स. नो, ट्रंकेटनी पण आपण फक्त डेटा डिलीट करतोय आणि डिलीटनी पण आपण फक्त डेटा डिलीट करतोय, रेकॉर्ड्स किंवा रोज डिलीट करतोय टेबलच्या. सो 3 मेन डिफरन्सेस आहेत डिलीट आणि ट्रंकेट मध्ये. Truncate works faster than your delete. Second is delete is your DML command, whereas truncate is your that ultimately means delete is not auto committed, whereas truncate is auto committed. And third difference will be you will be able to add a where condition with your delete, which is not possible with your truncate statement. So if you will try add a where condition here with your truncate, it will immediately give an error. Where is not valid at this position, expecting end of file semicolon. Truncate use आप कभी भी कोई specific rows को delete नहीं कर सकते. Understood everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Now that was about
सेकंड जो डिफरेंस था वो समझ नहीं आया.
क्या?
सेकंड जो डिफरेंस था ना डिलीट और ट्रंकेट का, वो समझ नहीं आया.
Okay, so I was saying ट्रंकेट जो है वो आपका DDL है, that also means it is auto committed, right? And your delete is a DML command, that means it is not auto committed. And this also means we cannot roll it back. We can roll back. Okay.
Okay.
And lastly, if we will drop the table, what will happen? That table structure itself will be gone from the database. So if I drop this table, drop table student, I won't be able to query it anymore. It will show you an error that table does not exist. So this error will come even if that table is there in the database. So, okay, for example, we do have this employee table. So DESA employee, if I'm doing, I'll be able to query it. But same, if I'll do EMP1, what will happen? It will give you an error that the table does not exist. Even if you are having a space in between, it will give you an error. Somebody pinged me saying, ma'am, this is not working. Karke. I'm not able to recall the name, or I don't know. But this also give you an error क्योंकि आपने क्या किया है? Your table name itself is wrong, right? Your table name is this EMP. It is not EM space P. Okay, so in this case also you will get this error. So whenever you are getting table does not exist, you should check for the table name you are using in your query.
मैम जो टेबल नेम वगैरह है इनमें स्मॉल और कैपिटल में चल जाएगा?
Yes, yes. SQL is all
केस सेंसिटिव,
non-case sensitive.
सेंसिटिव.
Even values, queries, keywords, everything you can either write in small letters or in capital letters. Okay. Now, this was all about the crude operations we have in databases. So basically till here, we saw how can we store our data into the database system. And that will be useful, as I said, that will be useful in case you are working on Flask, in case you are creating any APIs, any web forms. And at the back end, you need to have a database code. All of these queries will help. Okay. Anyone have any questions in things which we have discussed till now?
Ma'am, I have one doubt. Actually, I got asked this question in an interview. So the person said, like, if there's a table and, for example, for name, like we want to see the list of all the names in that table, and but we just want to see only first four characters of all the names. So how do we do that?
For that, you will have to use substr function. Okay, I'll try to cover few important functions also in our last class. Okay, you'll have to use substr.
Okay.
ठीक है. Okay then. So I was saying कि अभी तक हमने सीखा कि database table में data को कैसे store करना है. Now we will talk about how exactly we can manage it, how exactly we can define the relationships between different tables. As we all know, we are talking about a relational database. So multiple tables might be related to each other. So we will see how can we define those relationships. We will see how can we keep our data clean and consistent throughout the tables. And for that, what do we have in SQL is different constraints. Okay. Constraints का मतलब क्या होता है? Rules और Hi all. Okay, everybody just wants to see the match, right? Not interested in database sessions at all.
नहीं मैम हम कर रहे हैं ना
No, no,
लेक्चर
no. We are
डायरेक्टली एंड हो गया ना लेक्चर.
आई एम नॉट श्योर. 4 लोग को मैंने को होस्ट बनाया था, उसमें से somebody ended it. I didn't realize also. Okay, so we will finish this early today. So we will just have a brief about constraints we have in SQL and then we will stop. Okay.
मैम थोड़ा हिंदी में समझाओ ना.
Oh, okay. I'll try to speak more Hindi. Am I not speaking?
क्योंकि मराठी में सब लोग कंफर्टेबल नहीं होंगे.
No, I just explained the one girl in Marathi, right? Otherwise, I'll speak in Hindi or English. ठीक है?
ठीक है मैम.
Okay, let me know once screen is visible.
Yes मैम visible.
Okay, so we were talking about the constraints we have in SQL and the very first constraint is not null. So constraint का मतलब है डेटा को इंसर्ट करने से पहले उस पे कुछ रूल्स अप्लाई करना. To apply some rules in your table definition itself so that whenever you are entering the values, whenever you are entering the records, it should satisfy all those conditions, all those rules you have mentioned in the table definition. And जैसे इसका नाम है not null, what it will make sure is it will simply restrict the entry of null values. Okay, so you can think of mandatory fields we have in any web form. So in any web form, you do have few mandatory fields, right? जिसमें values को insert किए बिना you cannot proceed. And that can be because that particular field is defined as not null at the back end. If you're not inserting a value, that ultimately means database level पे क्या populate होगा? It will populate null. But we already have applied a rule on that table which will not allow you to do that, which will not allow you to insert null value in that particular field. Okay, and that's where we can use this not null constraint. Next constraint we can have on a table is unique constraint. Unique constraint जैसे अभी इसका भी नाम है. Okay, so in SQL everything is, I am saying it again and again, जो भी words हैं उन words का जो meaning होता है वही यहाँ पे उसका use है. It will most probably is with all the programming languages, but I find it more related to SQL. Unique इसका मतलब क्या है? जो भी values आप insert कर रहे हो, all those values should be unique. Always, you should not have any duplicate value in that particular field. So what does this unique constraint does is it restricts the entry duplicate values. So can we register ourselves on Amazon or Facebook or any site using the same mobile number again and again? एक ही मोबाइल नंबर यूज करके आप सेम साइट पे एक से ज्यादा बार खुद को रजिस्टर कर सकते हो क्या?
No, ma'am.
Alright. Why? Because maybe the mobile number is defined as unique constraint at the database level. You can register only once on that site. Later on, you will have to log in. You cannot have multiple accounts using the same mobile number. Okay, so that is your unique constraint. But whenever you define a unique constraint on a column, it will just restrict the entry of duplicate values. It will allow multiple null values. And that is because a null is never considered as equivalent to another null. एक null को आप दूसरे null के साथ compare नहीं कर सकते, आप उसे equivalent consider नहीं कर सकते. You cannot consider it as a duplicate of another null value. And that is why if you are defining a column as unique key of the table, मैंने अभी भी 2 लोगों को co-host बनाए हैं, तो अभी भी अगर कोई ज्वाइन कर रहा है तो उनको प्लीज एडमिट कर देना. ओके, मीटिंग एंड मत करना बस. ओके, तो यूनिक कंस्ट्रेंट विल जस्ट restrict the entry of duplicate values. Null values, multiple null values will be allowed in a unique key column because एक null दूसरे null के equivalent नहीं होता है. Next constraint we have is this primary key, which is again one of the important concepts of SQL. And what is primary key is? It is actually the combination of both of the above, that is not null and unique. That means whenever you define a column as the primary key of your table, you will not be able to insert any null value to it, or you will not be able to insert any duplicate value to it. उसमें आप null भी कभी insert नहीं कर पाओगे और duplicate value भी insert नहीं कर पाओगे. And that is the reason primary key values are used to uniquely identify a row. And when I say this, so whatever table, whatever domain you have, so if it is an employee table, what can be the unique identification of that employee for the organization? उस कंपनी के लिए उस employee की identity क्या होगी? It's his or her employee ID. It cannot be his name, project he's working on, his department, salary, location, nothing else. But the only thing which can help us identify that person uniquely in the entire organization will be his or her employee ID. And that is why such column can be defined as the primary key of the table. And if it is the case, and if it is a student table, कौन सी column आपका primary key हो सकता है? What is your identification for the class? Roll number. If I have to reach out to a particular student, I'll be looking for his or her roll number. Bank के केस में क्या होगा? It would be your customer ID, or it can be your account number. IRCTC के database के केस में क्या होगा? What can be the primary key in that case?
User ID.
our user ID. And if it is a table having trains information, what can be the primary key? PNR number,
PNR, sorry.
right? So columns like these, we can define as the primary key of the table so that we can use those values to identify those entities uniquely. And that is why you cannot ever have a null value in it as well as a duplicate value in it. एम्प्लॉय आईडी आपका अगर null है या फिर duplicate है तो it won't work, it won't help us to uniquely identify that person, right? And that is why primary की column में आप कभी भी null या duplicate values को insert नहीं कर सकते. Next constraint we have is this foreign key, which is actually used to define a relationship between DB tables, database tables. So it will always be a primary and foreign key relationship. So for example, this is the employee table we have, employee ID, name, salary, and location. So employee ID is this, name is this, whatever the salary and the location. Now, the information of projects on which these employees are working, I want to save that, store that information in this project table. So this project table may have project ID, project name, and I have this project ID as 10, which is your ETL project. I have another project 20, which is your migration project. Now, if we just save this much of the data, we won't ever be able to understand कौन सा employee किस project पे काम कर रहा है. And that information is also useful or needed, right? As a HR or as a manager, I want to know that this particular employee is working on ETL project or migration project. And for that, what we have to do is, we will have to add a column here, which can be common, which can have common values between this employee and project table. And in our case, it can be your employee ID. Now, if I add 101 as my employee ID, still I won't be able to read that this particular employee is working on ETL, right? It might happen that by mistake, the employee ID is 1001, but while entering data in the project table, I have inserted 101. So some third person came and he wants to know कि 1001 employee कौन सी project पे काम करता है. So by looking at this data, will he be able to understand that? No, right? So that is what your primary and foreign key relationships makes sure. They make sure that your data is consistent throughout the tables. That means if you have this employee ID as PK of this employee table, and this is the common column between employee and project, you need to define this employee ID as foreign key here in your project table. Okay, first thing, it is not necessary to have same column to define it as a foreign key. Column का नाम same होने की जरूरत नहीं है. But the only rule here is you cannot define any normal column as foreign key in some other table. You can only have primary key column as foreign key here. that does not apply all the rules of primary key on foreign keys. So these two are two different things. But the only thing happens when you define such kind of relationship is database makes sure that जो भी एम्प्लॉय आईडीज आपकी प्राइमरी की कॉलम में है उसमें से ही कोई एक एम्प्लॉय आईडी आप यहाँ पे इंसर्ट कर पाओ. इन दैट केस द चांसेस ऑफ एडिंग 101 by mistake will not be there. You won't be insert this record itself because this is not there in your primary key column. So you can simply relate this to the concept of inheritance we have. We are basically inheriting the values you have in your employee table, in your primary key column, in this project table, in your foreign key table. Now, can we inherit any function, any property in child class which is not there in your parent class?
No.
पेरेंट क्लास में ही अगर वो प्रॉपर्टी या फंक्शन नहीं है तो आप उसे इनहेरिट कर सकते हो क्या?
No.
नो, राइट? दैट इज व्हाट हैपेंस हियर एज वेल. ऐसा कोई भी वैल्यू जो आपकी प्राइमरी की कॉलम में प्रेजेंट नहीं है उसे आप यहाँ पे इंसर्ट नहीं कर पाओगे. ओके, योर चाइल्ड क्लास कैन हैव इट्स ओन फंक्शंस. Okay, so that part will remain there with Python or the concept of inheritance in Python. But here database will only make sure that इसमें से ही कोई वैल्यू आप यहाँ पे इंसर्ट करो ताकि आपका डेटा जो है वो कंसिस्टेंट रहे. जो आपकी कंपनी के एम्प्लॉइज हैं, जो एम्प्लॉय आईडीज आपके कंपनी में हैं, उन्हीं एम्प्लॉय आईडीज के लिए प्रोजेक्ट रिलेटेड डेटा जो है, इंफॉर्मेशन जो है वो यहाँ पे अवेलेबल हो. Okay, so that is your foreign key column. Huh?
Can we say that the primary key in the first column must be a foreign key in the second column?
Okay. It is not a must thing, okay? It might be there in the database tables. मतलब ये जो relationship है वो जरूरी नहीं कि हर एक टेबल में डिफाइन होगा. ओके, इवन इफ दिस प्राइमरी एंड फॉरेन की रिलेशनशिप इज नॉट देयर, यू कैन स्टिल जॉइन दीज टू टेबल्स यूजिंग एम्प्लॉय आईडीज. बट उस केस में सिर्फ क्या होगा, हो सकता है कि आप गलती से यहाँ पे 101 भी इंसर्ट करो. दैट इज पॉसिबल. ओके, बट दीज रिलेशनशिप्स आर नॉट मैंडेटरी. इट माइट बी देयर जस्ट टू कीप योर डेटा कंसिस्टेंट.
Okay.
नाउ
क्वेरी की यहाँ पे जैसे हमने एम्प्लॉय आईडी ऊपर के टेबल में अलग लिखा है और नीचे के इसमें अलग लिखा है. Will that be acceptable?
Yes, that's what I said, and that is why I deliberately changed this name to employee underscore ID, because प्राइमरी की कॉलम को फॉरेन की डिफाइन करने के लिए वो कॉलम यहाँ पे होना जरूरी है, बट नॉट नेसेसरीली कि एग्जैक्ट नेम आप यहाँ पे भी दो.
तो उसको कैसे समझेगा कि वही कॉलम हमने ऊपर से एक्सेस किया है या उस टेबल से?
हाँ, आप उसे डेटा को देख के अंडरस्टैंड कर सकते हो. और ओके, फर्स्ट थिंग वी कैन अंडरस्टैंड इट बाय लुकिंग एट द डेटा. सेकेंड थिंग, अभी अगर एम्प्लॉय आईडी ही है, इट वोंट बी द केस दैट यहाँ पे आप एम्प्लॉय आईडी नाम दे रहे हो और यहाँ पे आप एकदम ही कुछ irrelevant नेम दे रहे हो. इट वोंट बी द केस विद द डेटाबेस, राइट? You can have little bit of difference, but it will always be a relevant name to the column. So if it is location, LOC in employee table, it can be full location or address in your project table. Just an example. But it won't be something irrelevant, right? You cannot call a location column as name or F name, L name, nothing like that. It will always be a location, some or other form of that word. So you can identify it that way. Okay.
And जो प्राइमरी की का कॉलम होता है, that is always the first column in that table.
No, not necessarily. No. Okay, कोई भी कॉलम को आप प्राइमरी की डिफाइन कर सकते हो. Okay, now next constraint we have is this check. So this constraint is basically used to check for a condition before we insert data in a table. So whatever conditions we have seen with the where clause, वो सारी conditions आप check constraint के साथ दे सकते हो. But where clause क्या करता है? Already data is there in your table. Where will just help you to fetch that data which is satisfying the condition, right? But this check constraint, what exactly it does is, it will make sure that आप जो data insert कर रहे हो, that should satisfy the condition given here. So you can think of any drop down list you have. Okay, so you have a field called as location in your form, and you just want to give options like Bangalore, Pune and Mumbai, only these three options. So we can apply a check constraint at the back end and say check location in Bangalore, Mumbai and Pune. So that what will happen, user will not be able to insert any other value in that field. If you are okay, consider the admission form of some engineering college. Okay, वो जो options देने होते हैं हमें, the list of colleges we want to have admission in, you are filling that form and you have choose one college. कोई एक college आपने choose किया है, and next thing you have to choose is the branch you want. अभी उस कॉलेज में अगर सिर्फ कंप्यूटर और ENTC ब्रांच है, will you be able to insert civil or mechanical there? You shouldn't be, right? उस कॉलेज में अगर सिर्फ कंप्यूटर और ENTC ही ब्रांचेस है अवेलेबल, तो आप वहां पे उस कॉलेज के नाम के आगे सिविल लिखोगे तो उसका कुछ मतलब है क्या? No, right? You should only enter either computer or ENTC if you are going for that college. So there you can apply this check condition key, check branch in computer or ENTC. So scenarios like this, we can implement this check constraint. Next constraint we have is this default, which will help you set a default value for a column. Okay, कोई भी कॉलम में अगर आप वैल्यू को इंसर्ट नहीं करते हो तो डेटाबेस क्या पॉपुलेट करता है? इट पॉपुलेट्स नल, राइट? जैसे हमने इंसर्ट सीखा तो देखा, whenever we have not inserted value for the branch field, database populated null over there. But I do not want to have null in that column. But मुझे क्या चाहिए? Whenever I'm not inserting a value, it should take some default value for it. So for example, when you join the company, any company, not necessarily you will be immediately tagged to a project. Sometimes it happens कि joining से पहले ही आपका client interview होता है and they will tag you to the project. But sometimes it can happen you will just join the company and you are not tagged to any project. So if you are not working on any project, there is a term called bench key. ऐसे बोलते हैं कि I am on bench if I am not working on some project. Okay, so in that case, what I want, I have my employee table in which I have a column called project. तो मुझे insert करना है employee ID and I also want to insert the project value there. अगर वो employee project को tag हो चुका है already, I can insert that value, that particular value in the table at the insertion of record itself. But अगर वो employee कोई project को tag नहीं हुआ है, So in that case, I do not want to keep that cell, keep that row as null. Instead, what I want is I want to populate bench there. So what I can do, I can set a default value for the project field in my employee table so that jahan pe bhi I am not inserting a value for project, it should populate bench.
Default value.
Okay, default value. And last constraint we have is this auto increment, which is used to, जैसे इसका नाम है auto increment a column value by 1. किसी भी कॉलम की वैल्यू को अगर ऑटोमेटिकली इंक्रीमेंट करवाना है एक से, तो यू कैन मेक यूज ऑफ दिस ऑटो इंक्रीमेंट. जैसे आपका प्राइमरी की कॉलम्स हो गया, ओके, यू हैव रोल नंबर्स, यू हैव एम्प्लॉय आईडीज, सो इट विल ऑलवेज बी लाइक दिस ओनली, राइट? अगर कोई नया स्टूडेंट ज्वाइन करता है तो you will just increase the roll number value by 1, 1 2 3 4 like that. So you do not want to insert those values manually. Instead what you want, जैसे ही आप कोई स्टूडेंट, नया स्टूडेंट का इंफॉर्मेशन ऐड कर रहे हो, that roll number should get increased by 1 automatically. So we can make use of this auto increment constraint. The only thing important here is you cannot just auto increment a column value. It is mandatory to define it as a key. तो कोई भी कॉलम को आप ऑटो इंक्रीमेंट नहीं करवा सकते. You will understand it when we will write a table definition with all these constraints. When we will try to auto increment a column value with the help of this constraint, only this will not come as the key first, and then only you can auto increment it. Now, all the other constraints, that is not null, unique, foreign key, check, and default, we can have multiple of them in a single table, but you can have only one primary key in a table. Because what is its use? It is used to uniquely identify a row. Entity का applications नहीं हो सकता है. So you can have only one primary key in a table. So you can have the combination of multiple columns as a primary key, but there will be only one primary key in a single database table, and same goes with your auto increment. आप सिर्फ एक ही कॉलम को auto increment करवा सकते हो, because any n number of columns you will use auto increment with, all of them are going to have same values. कोई भी दो कॉलम को आप auto increment कर आपने किया है and you are inserting a new record, both of them are going to have a same value, because both of them will increment by 1 for each new insert. And that is why you can have only one column auto incrementing in a database table.
Ma'am, auto increment का जो column है, it should be defined as की मतलब क्या है? What does it actually mean? Primary key or basic key?
हाँ, प्राइमरी की. ओके, हम लोग
So we
implement.
can so we can auto increment only the primary key. Yes?
Sorry, can you say it again?
So you said to auto increment the column value, we have to define it as key, which means primary key, right?
Right.
Yeah, so we can auto increment only the primary key and no other column.
Yes, you can say that. Okay, however you say, I mean, whatever sentence you form, the concept remains same, that if you are trying to auto increment a column value, you need to define it as a key. You cannot just
Okay.
have auto increment.
Okay. I was just trying to understand this.
Yeah, that's okay. Okay, so this is the summary of constraints we have in SQL. Tomorrow we will see how to implement these constraints. We will see how can we apply these constraints while creating a table. Same way, we will see how can we apply these constraints on an existing database table. सबको summary समझ में आया, constraints क्या होते हैं, कहाँ पे use हो सकते हैं?
इसमें मैम सुपर की भी होती है ना एक?
Yeah, you do have like composite key, super key, multiple types of keys, but these are the important ones. Rather, if you know just about these four, that would also work. Okay. Anything else, anyone?
किस टाइप के क्वेश्चंस मतलब पूछे जाएंगे इसके ऊपर?
SQL.
हाँ, SQL based. Can you give just brief idea about it?
हाँ, SQL usually if it is the initial round of interview, they will ask you these basic questions ki what is the difference between delete, truncate and drop. They'll ask you about multiple clauses. We have not covered it, all of them. Matlab, we just have covered where clause, but group by and all. They may ask you oral questions, I'll say. But if it is the last round of interview, many of the cases we have seen कि पहले दो technical rounds, एक या दो technical rounds will be on like Python and machine learning, and they will have the last round on SQL. And if that is the case, they will give you an assignment which might include 5 to 6 questions. And those questions as far as going to cover in the class. Okay. So I'm trying to make your basics clear on the SQL. And if you are able to understand these basics, you'll be able to, these functions and all that is very easy. You need to understand the basic. If you're able to understand the basic, you can, easily implement, use any of the functions, and you can write a query. Right? तो ये हो सकता है कि अगर लास्ट राउंड में है तो you can have an assignment which will include all the topics I said. Initial round है तो भी you may have an assignment, but it will be like easy questions you will have. Okay.
Yeah, ma'am. और इस सैटरडे को जो भी मॉक होगा, as we are already informed कि SQL पे होगा, तो उसमें क्या क्या कवर होगा? मतलब आप कुछ मतलब जैसे बता सकते हो किस टाइप का क्वेश्चन might be asked. Basically, what is SQL? उनके
बेसिक क्वेश्चंस जो भी हमने कवर किया है उस पे ही आपको क्वेश्चंस पूछे जाएंगे. नॉट टू वरी अबाउट इट.
क्वेरीज भी आएंगे ना मैम?
Yeah, they may ask you to run the queries. It is actually dependent on the interviewer, but yeah, he may ask you to run the queries also. Okay.
असाइनमेंट नहीं दिया अब तक?
नहीं, I could not update my assignment. Actually, I was in office throughout the day. I'll give it tomorrow or at least on the weekends for sure.
एग्जाम्पल था, जैसे एक इसमें आईडी है, टेबल है जिसमें भी आईडी है. सो हियर फॉरेन की आईडी रह सकती है, राइट? और आईटी प्राइमरी भी रह सकती है. बट अगर मान लीजिए सेकंड टेबल में आईडी नहीं है, पहले इसमें आईडी थी, सेकंड टेबल में मे बी कुछ और है आईडी जैसा जो कि रिलेट करता होगा उससे, दूसरे इससे. मतलब सेम कॉलम उधर, एक उधर पहले में जो कॉलम है वो सेकंड में भी सेम कॉलम है, तो वो फॉरेन की होगा और वो आईडी उधर का प्राइमरी की होगा, राइट?
राइट.
मैम एक डाउट है, मतलब एक्चुअली मुझे ये समझ नहीं आया, जैसे कि जैसे हम प्राइमरी की और फॉरेन की जो है वो सेम नहीं होता है बट नेम अलग हो सकता है, तो हाउ डज आवर कोड नो कि वो सेम ही कॉलम है वो दोनों?
Okay, you will get it when we will implement it, right? Okay.
Okay, okay.
your foreign key definition will define that कि कौन सा column आप primary कौन सा primary key आप prefer कर रहे हो to define that foreign key.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else, anyone? Okay. If not, let's stop here for today. Enjoy the rest of the match. We will connect tomorrow. End. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am. Good night.
Thank you, everyone.
Good night.
Thank you, ma'am.